I was like, okay, now I need to work on myself in the sense of finding myself again, finding that confidence. And so that's when I stumbled upon, I'm doing all these internet searches and whatnot and looking at thousands and thousands of YouTube videos. And I'm just like, there wasn't anything out there until I came across yours, and your description was one of those things that I was like, this sounds almost exactly what I'm looking for. Mm-hmm. So then after talking with you, and I was like, yes, I want to move forward with this. I'm the type of guy where I'm always going to try and better myself. So it's like, it to me, like having a peace of mind and having the right mindset, you can't put a price dollar on that. So it's just one of those things where I'm like, all right, I'm going to jump in there. I'm going to do this. Let's conquer it.
And kudos to you for doing that, man. So let's talk about, some of that progress you made and those results you got throughout the program. What you saw from that first day that, you signed up, dove in, and hit the ground running with the program, with the coaching. What kind of happened to you? Can you take us through your journey on
I noticed it instantly in the work environment. The work environment, it's like my confidence level is actually, usually my confidence level is at its highest always when I'm at work, because I'm hired as a professional to work a very specific thing. And it's like when people come up and ask me questions and they will give me, I don't know, I think we should approach the recording of the sound this way. I'll have to explain to them, it's like, no, we're going to do it this way because these are the problems that you're going to run into if we do it your way. And I've already experienced these problems, and this is why my approach is always we're going to go in this direction, because that's just, trial and error. It's the 10 years of doing this and it's the reason why you hired me. It's like, because I'm the professional, I'm the expert in this field of, the production and all that. Yeah. It was then once I recognized how my confidence level was there, I then started like adapting that. I'm like, okay, let's have my mental mindset of when I'm in the workplace to be the same as when I'm out in my social environments. And immediately, right when I started thinking in that mindset, it's like my approach anxiety was just gone. Like I just didn't care, because it's just one of those things. And I recognize within the interactions that I'm having that a lot of times, like before this, I would get like the eyes rolling and like these girls just being like, okay, here's another guy coming up and talking to me. And now it's the opposite. Now it's like I go up and I approach and they turn and they smile, and it's like a big like glowing smile, and I haven't done anything.
Yep, that's the baby.
Team up.
The mojo.
So yeah. I mean, it's great. It's actually a pretty cool experience. I was going to say after that breakthrough, I continued in ingesting more of the information off of your core library and all that type of stuff. And I just saw little tiny, the majority of it, it's like I learned pretty much right off the bat, but it was all about execution. Yeah. And there are numerous times where I'd be like, I don't feel like going out, or I don't feel like doing that. But every single time I overcame that feeling and I would just force myself to go do it, it always ended up being a fun interaction, or it always ended up being like a fun night and all that stuff. So it was good.
Awesome, man. And so really immerse yourself, dove in, started applying it, seeing all that. And that's so typical. And it's funny because, another client emailed me recently and said, wow, as soon as I signed up, started doing this, I'll be getting all this business. Yeah. It happens. That happens, right? And then, of course, going out and applying it in the social and dating life and stuff too. There's this effect, the mindset and the vibe. It's the weirdest thing ever, man. This.
They tune into that. They recognize that right away.
Yeah. And so there's all that information you applied and went through it, and then you stayed in execution and action, right?
Yes.
Well, and I'm curious about, in terms of that also, the parts that were more interactive and hearing the other guys and what they're going through and them getting coached, and that part, how that helped you move through this stuff too.
That was actually one of the more beneficial sides. Obviously all the information that you gave was great information. But having those conference calls and hearing the other guys' stories, there were some guys in the stories that, of course, that I would just be like, oh man, this guy, I can just tell by the way he talks and the tone in his voice. And I'm like, this guy needs a lot of work.
Totally.
He needs to push through some of this stuff. But then there's other guys that it was actually really inspiring, because some of the stories that I would hear, it's this sounds bad only because it's like you never want to compare yourself, but like if on some it's a hard thing to not do when you tell about your weekend and your experience, and then you hear a guy about how awesome and amazing his weekend is, and you're just like, oh, well, I didn't have a weekend as good as him.
Yeah.
That doesn't matter. You don't need to think of it that way. You need to think of it in terms of learn from his experience. You're already learning from your experience, but learn from his experience or her experience and take what he learned. And not only that, a lot of it was inspiring. A lot of it, like some of these stories that I would hear of, like I remember this one guy, Nick, he was just going out and it's like he's pulling left and right and he's not doing anything. All he's going up is just going up and being friendly, just being himself. And I'm just like, yes,
yeah,
exactly it. That's exactly it.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it was really great to be involved with all those conference calls and hearing the other guys' stories.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the benefits of working in a program like this is that immersion thing. And it, you know, a lot of times because I've got my little control panel I'm watching, you know, and I'm bringing up the next guy to work with. And I expect a lot of guys to be dropping off and everybody's staying on.
Mm-hmm,
Everybody wants to absorb and learn. And that's exactly the kind of people that I want to help.
Oh, of course.
You know, because those are the ones that are going to get results. I don't want people that are going to dabble and just listen to some nice and I don't allow that. I don't allow those people in even. And that's why the group is like that. I don't allow it in. And of course, certain guys are further behind and further ahead. That's natural. And you hit on the, you know, the whole comparison trap thing, which is, you know, I've got to keep you guys, look, don't compare to each. I know your brain's going to do it. That's how we're conditioned to do this. All that matters is your own progress and moving forward. Right.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. And I'm curious if you're willing to tell the Vegas story as well. And what happened.
Story. That was a great little interaction. So I tagged along with a buddy of mine. So he did the whole back in college 10 years ago, the whole semester at sea thing where he just jumped on a boat and they go travel around the world and stop off at all these countries. And so he met this really cool group of guys. And I had a really rough work week and whatnot. He's like, dude, come with me to Vegas. He's like, let's get you out of here. Go relax. I'm like, perfect. Let's do this. Let's go blow some steam. And so it's like, it was the first night we're out there. We're just gambling, you know, just catching up and all that type of stuff. But the second day we went to one of the pool parties there at the casino. And my only goal this whole trip, I was just like, I'm just going to go talk to as many people as possible. That's it. That was the only plan I had. And so I'm just going around to this pool party, just talking it up with guys, girls, with just anyone that wanted to talk, the hot-ass cocktails, waitresses that are around, all that type of stuff.
Yep.
And so it's like I'm talking to a couple of little brides parties over here, bachelorette parties over here and there and whatnot. But there was this one girl that I had approached, and like instantly it was just like a very, very flirtatious vibe, like just happened like right away. And, you know, I'm throwing out little bantering and being flirtatious with her and all this type of stuff. And it was, I don't know, it was just a fun experience because like she interrupted. I was in the middle of like telling one of my stories about working production in LA, and she just like, she grabbed me and started kissing me. And I'm just like, what's going on? This is awesome. I probably could have said a couple things to like escalate it further. But I mean, I was just so carefree that I was just like, this is fun. Right. So I mean, it was a great experience, and it was just one of those things where it's like I wasn't using any pickup lines, I wasn't doing anything, I was just being myself, and I think it was just the confidence and the vibe that I was projecting was accepted and was, you know, was working in my favor.
Totally, man. And you're, you know, being social with everybody and flirting and being carefree about it. And the thing, you know, to note to guys listening is that this girl immediately was into your vibe. Not only that, she was the one being the aggressor. Yeah. She was the one who kissed you. She's the one who grabbed you. She was the one who did that. And usually it's the other way around. Yeah. And so that's the way it should be.
Exactly. Well, that's what I've always wanted it to be. It's like you were talking about earlier about our society be conditioned. It's like, oh no, the guy always has to be the aggressor. The guy always has to be. It's like, no, those women have the exact same thoughts that we have. If anything, they probably have more sexual thoughts than we have, just because they're sexual human beings just like we are. Yep. And so, yeah, I've always been a firm believer. I'm like, no, we don't need to follow the social norm.
Nope. That's right.
You can change that.
Yeah. And women want to do it. They just don't know how. They deep down want to. And guys definitely don't know how, like, you know, I even remember when I used to be like, oh, she's being aggressive to me. That's not the way it's supposed to go. That's turning me off. And now I'm like, what? But that was just how I conditioned, right? That's just how I was conditioned, and it's very typical. And it can go totally other way, and it can be a lot easier. And then you'll attract even more women because all the other guys are not doing that. They're just following the standard MO. And even the pickup guys, they just expand. They take more action. They have more techniques. Sure, can they get better results depending, but they're still chasing them down and think that that's the way it's got to go.
And all that mindset is all outcome dependent. And it's like having that whole outcome dependent, all it ever did in the past was just cause more, over analyzing and cause like anxiety and stuff like that. Right. Where like once you get rid of all that, you feel better. It doesn't matter. It's what, I don't know, what would you call that? First world problems where you're worried about how your interaction was with that person. It's like, it doesn't matter.
We're in the first world, so is it like half world problems?
Yeah, something like that. I don't know.
Quarter world?